Sarah, Robert. Hey, congratulations on this new graphic novel, Mary Shelley's Frankenstein, starring Boris Karloff.
Thank you. We're excited.
You know
It
what?
is wonderful.
I'm very excited about this. Ever since the Dracula one a few years ago, and I spoke to you, Robert, about it, and you know, I was itching for another one, and here it is. So most excellent.
Yep.
So let's start off with this first. Tell us about the genesis of this graphic novel. Um, the process of getting this off the ground.
Well, very simply, we did have a great success with the Dracula one, and our mutual friends, Lynn Lugosi and Bella Lugosi Jr., mutual friends of Sarah and I asked them pretty much like, could you introduce me to Sarah? Because I mean, it only makes sense if we do another one, it's got to be Frankenstein, and it's got to be with Boris Karloff. So they made the introduction, and the rest is history. I'll let Sarah kind of take it from there.
Well, I've been friends with Bela Jr. and then his daughter Lynn for a very long time, and they were so pleased with the one that Robert did for them, and I was so pleased with the one that Robert did for them, and so I was delighted when I was approached and introduced to Robert and approached by him, and I'm just over the moon now with the one that he's done for me.
Got it right here.
Oh, good, I was going to do that. But then I thought,
we can both do that.
I'm allowed to. No. Let me see. Can you guys see this?
Oh yeah, yeah.
Good.
Good. It is fabulous. And as you can see, the artwork on the cover is followed by the same just beautiful artwork inside. And they have captured the likeness of my father just unbelievably. In every picture of my father, I've learned that when people send me, I've said this before, but when people send me their version of my father is Frankenstein, or simply as my father, I've learned to go like this and like this and like this through his face to see what they haven't captured correctly. Let me tell you, the artists in this book have captured my father's likeness, no matter what pose he's in, no matter what clothes he's in, no matter what he looks like as far as his hair, the expression on his face is just dead on. It's just perfect. And I am so thrilled with, of course, the storyline, but the artwork, it just makes my heart sing. It just is, it's just wonderful. And it gets to be a page turner. It really does. You can hardly wait. We read it again last night, and I just said, come on, come on, come on, come on, come on. And the first time I read it, I said, come on, come on. It just builds and builds and builds, and it carries you throughout the story. It's just wonderfully written. It's wonderfully illustrated. I mean, I cannot tell you how marvelous it is, how delighted I am with it. I can hardly wait for it to come out and then be able to discuss it with everybody and share it with everybody and share it with my family. I'm just so delighted with this book. I have it right here beside me, and after reading it again last night, I went to bed so happy in my heart that this is coming out soon, and I'm going to be able to share it with my family, and I'm going to be able to share it with the fans. The fans they're just going to love it. I know that. I just know that so totally, because it's just a wonderful piece of work, and I cannot thank Robert enough. I cannot thank the people, all the people, each and every one of them, for the job they've done. It's the perfect book.
That is
Really.
that is so wonderful to hear, and I too love the artwork. So, Robert, Sarah, tell us about working in collaboration together. Well, what is the process like trying to get the, how can you say, his iconic looks, his images down pat with the artwork for this graphic novel?
Mm-hmm.
That's for Robert to answer.
Well, I'll say this, the exciting thing about this whole project for me from the get-go was when I first met with Sarah and we started talking about it, I realized how passionate she was and is about having her father's likeness appear as Frankenstein's monster or Frankenstein's creature, but in a new way, and not doing what has been seen before. And that was really something we needed to do to kind of honor Mary Shelley's story, but also exciting and challenging and a little scary. Not scary is the wrong word, but it's a little nervous to take such an iconic, image and reimagine it in a new way. And all credit to Sarah for taking that leap with us, and all credit to Carrie Gamble, who came up with the design for the new vision of Karloff as the monster. And to me, that's what's kind of the biggest, but also the first and most important challenge to get right. And we did, as you'll see, and people see when they look at the book, because we have some of the sketches in the back of some of the designs and the experimentation we went through, no pun intended, with the experimentation of trying to get it right, and making it different. Mary Shelley had a very specific thing in her descriptions at times, but there was also a lot of room to kind of invent and be faithful to Karloff and his amazing face and just having it all come together. So again, I give a ton of credit to Carrie Gamble because he did all that work. And then El Gehring and Carrie worked together once we had that design locked down on the interior artwork. And like Bram Stoker's Dracula, the novels have been adapted so many different ways, and people tend to take the pieces that work for cinema or the pieces that work for other mediums and adapt the stories. But what we were trying to do, as with the Bram Stoker book, is be faithful to the novel to honor Mary Shelley and what she achieved. Because she's really the mother of science fiction. She doesn't get a lot of credit for that, but Frankenstein came out long before Jules Verne and H.G. Wells. It's really the first work of science fiction. So, yeah, there was a lot going on, but we just tried to go into it and really honor everyone involved. That was the goal.
Well,
That
you
that
met your goal.
Yeah, I was going to say that is credit to the writing process of legendary comics with the graphic novel, because I don't have the graphic novel in my hand, but I do have Mary Shelley's book, and I remember reading this with the letters going back and forth and the storytelling, and you captured the essence of that magic of Mary Shelley's storytelling into this graphic novel, and that's a lot of kudos.
It certainly is. I mean, it becomes a page turner. You just have to you don't want to read it too fast, but it stays with you and it carries you along, and when you finish it, you wish there were more, and yet you think, oh my goodness, what's next? And what's coming next? And so I'm gonna ask you, Robert, what's next? And what are you gonna do with some of these characters you've left hanging, and who's around the corner, and it's maybe gonna be a long time before I take a cruise.
Well, it's funny, I mean, both the books are in a way, it's just kind of remarkable what Mary Shelley and Bram Stoker achieved, and they uh, certainly didn't know they were inventing a genre in essence. I mean, obviously there was years between when Frankenstein was written and then Dracula was written, but it all kind of started in that Gothic literature movement, as you know, Gig. And yeah, it's amazing. Here we are 200 years later talking about Mary Shelley's novel and coming up, I mean, I hate to even think this way because, I grew up on the movies, but we're coming up on 100 years in 2031 of Boris Karloff and Bela Lugosi and the work they did. So it's just great that we're able to do something new, and bring in new fans, hopefully, and keep the original fans like ourselves happy also.
Well, the multi-generational appeal to the for the fans is what has always impressed me at the shows I've done, been the conventions I've been invited to, and the fans I've met. It is multi-generational in its appeal, and the people I've met, and the grandparents bringing their grandchildren, and it's just remarkable how, as you say, the generations and the ages of the fans, it is remarkable. So I ask you what's next, because it does carry on. It does carry on. And when I finished the book, I thought, oh, the door is still open.
Yeah.
And
Well, we'll have to see. I don't know. I don't want to say for sure just yet, but these are fun to do. They certainly are, and in a way, there are love letters to Karloff, to Boris Karloff, and
well,
you
thank
know,
you.
and all these amazing people who did this. And the thing Sarah said, and that just meant so much to all of us, is how happy her father would have been with the end result, and that meant everything. Because
Oh,
of course, I never had the opportunity to, like a lot of us, I would have loved to have met Boris Karloff and talked to him and about his amazing work. But Sarah assured me he would be pleased, and that
I'd
that
be thrilled,
made my
and
made my
made
day.
thrilled by your interpretation and the representation. And he just he I'm sitting here looking at the book, and he would just have been so honored and so thrilled at the way you did the book, and as am I. And it's just an amazing work of that you all, as a team, I know, have put together. And I cannot thank your team enough. I cannot thank you enough. And I know when the book comes out, the fans will thank you. You have you have captured the magic and the unbelievable fact that a 16-year-old Mary Shelley wrote the basis for your wonderful work. And talk about multi-generational. She was 16 years old when she wrote her Frankenstein book, and we talk about multi-generational and the appeal that your book will bring to many fans, both past and future. Thank you so much.
Oh, it's been fun.
Thank the whole team.
And Sarah, one main last thing is what would you want Boris Karloff's legacy to be? I mean, obviously he's immortalized through the movies and now the graphic novel and books and so on. But in your words, what is his legacy?
Well, what would I want it to be?
Yes.
Just what it is. Exactly what it is. That he was not the roles he played. He was the antithesis of the roles he played. He was a kind man. He was a gentleman and a gentleman. He was articulate, well-educated, a good listener, had a lovely British sense of humor. He was respected by all who worked with him and beloved by all who knew him. And I wouldn't change a thing about the legacy he left.
Well said. And Robert, it sounds like Sarah is already giving you permit, and the estate is already giving you permission to do more stories. And some of us always crave for more stories. Are these graphic novels usually just one and done, or is there something implanted in the back of the brain that you think about that there could be more?
Well, I mean, look, I love these books, and I love the basis of these books, not only the original novels, but the films and the actors. So, it's really been a dream come true to get to do it with Dracula and Frankenstein with Karloff is just kind of amazing. So, yeah, I mean, I certainly would want to do something else and keep it going. But we want to get this out to the world in the right way first and focus on that, and just have everyone, I hope, really embrace this vision of Mary Shelley's Frankenstein with the one and only Boris Karloff. And I would just add, obviously, Sarah is more qualified to speak to his legacy than I am as a fan, but just I think what Karloff did really transcended, and I've said this before and I really mean it, it transcended performance. It wasn't just an acting performance. It became culturally iconic. It achieved a level of cultural awareness that just, very few actors achieve something like that, where it's beyond the cinema, beyond a particular story. And I think he's one of those personas. And so I'm just proud that we got to, with Sarah's support, enthusiastic support, we got to, tell the story again with his incredible face. And it's just really, I'm really honored that we got to do that.
Do it again.
Most excellent. Robert, Sarah, thank you very much for carrying this conversation with us about Mary Shelley's Frankenstein starring Boris Karloff. I can't wait to get a copy myself to go to be next to my copy of the Dracula one. So this is terrific. We got to do more of these. That's all I could say. Thank you.
Awesome. Thanks again, Gig, and appreciate you supporting this one as well as you did before.
Thank you.
Thank you all.